S3, and we have Giselle McCray, aka Lady Zaraje, back in the studio. Woo! We're happy to have her once again. Listen, last week's episode was so powerful that we decided to do a part 2. People were asking, people were inboxing. I mean, obviously, the topic of conversation concerning relationship with women seems to be a hot or a need amongst women. So tonight we're back with Girl Be Nice. We all come from the same place. We ended it last week and we want to continue with that conversation. But before we continue, I just want you to know that tonight we're not live because of personal reasons. I have some things to take care of, for which I have to travel. So this is not live. This is pre-recorded, but it's going to be just as good as if it was live. And if you have any comments, any suggestions, anything that you want us to talk about beyond tonight's topic of conversation, please inbox us. I will be glad to address some of the issues that you may be thinking about. Can somebody give me a piece of tissue, please? Yes. This is the real life talk show, so we do things
a little different.
Yes,
Real.
A little different. Yes. So, Giselle McCray, you're back.
Yes.
Yay!
My pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
Listen,
Yes.
I'm telling you, there's something about you that makes people want to view the real life, you know.
It's the
You're
glory.
real, yes, it's the glory of God, and your personality, you know, you're not afraid to share real stuff. You're not afraid to talk about even your own experiences. You know, I went back and I listened to last week's. And I was like, did she really say that? Yes, she did. But we like that. I mean, it's time
To be
for,
real.
especially those of us who call ourselves believers.
Mhm.
It's time for us to be real and to be truthful, because
Transparent.
it is the truth that makes us free.
Right. Amen.
It is the truth that makes us free. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
darling. Thank you so much. So listen, last week was just powerful. You know, we went into talking about some serious stuff, and I want to start off kind of sort of where we ended. You made mention of the fact that
Women.
as women with daughters, we need to begin to create
Mhm.
a different type of mentality for the next generation. I think we're responsible for the next generation to be better.
Right.
The next generation of women to be better, where they will begin to understand their self-worth.
Mhm.
Because if they first understand their self-worth, they would understand that there's no need to hate on another woman, you know, who has maybe stepped into their place of confidence and security, you know. So talk about that a little bit, because you did touch on that. And we had someone to inbox, a mommy with 2 girls,
Mhm.
who really commended us on the show, and you know, she expressed her gratitude for us having this conversation, because she herself, you know, as she stated, she's struggling with stuff that she went through as a young woman, but now with the responsibility of developing 2 daughters,
Right.
to understand their self-worth, so that they don't go through some of the things that she went through. So I think it's a very important point that you brought to the forefront, because you know, as women, we need to understand that there are young women watching us, and they assimilate our behaviors, especially our daughters. So
Right.
touch on that again.
I think that we all need to be quite mindful as women, because we're dealing with women issues right now. You know, the cattiness and so forth. We need to be mindful about how we choose to behave, how we choose
It's a
to
choice.
love, how
Yeah.
we choose to respect others and honor, you know, whether elders or just honor each other. You know, I think it's something that we need to be mindful about, because someone is always watching.
Someone is
It
watching.
might not be your child, it might not be somebody that's blood related to you, but somebody's eye is on you. And I think that is
Wow,
something that
that's
we
good.
really need to be conscious about, because the world already judge us and always waiting for us to drop the ball. Oh, see, I told you she's not a Christian. I told you this. I told you that about right. Exactly. She's not this and she's not that. So forget about that. But I think that it's just something we definitely need to be Christ-like in every aspect of our life, and realize that the younger generation is watching us. Yes, they watch all of the social media. They follow social media. They watch the reality shows and so forth. Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest. A lot of it is really not
real.
A lot of it is not real, and a lot of it is not something you would want the type of behaviors your child to display.
That's
You don't want that. So you have to be the best representation of what your child should be.
Right.
And I think that makes it easier, because whether this generation, even when we were younger, I remember, grown up saying, do what I do and not do what I say and not what I do.
Right.
That doesn't work anymore. That doesn't work. We have to. They have to see us do what we say, and that's just that. We have to be an example to them and show them the way it's supposed to be, because the world is showing them different.
That's right. And we have to come to the realization that again, as we are responsible for the next generation to be better, if we don't take that responsibility seriously and they begin to exercise the same type of behaviors, we can't be critical of them.
No.
We cannot be critical of them, because that means that we didn't do what we were supposed to do as women. Teach them how to value another woman. One of the things that the Lord said to me as we prepared for this show on last week, He said, when you begin to celebrate another woman, that is the moment when you realize that you have begun to celebrate yourself.
Wow. That's good.
When you celebrate another moment, that is a sign that you are confident in your own skin, and you have embraced all of you, the good, the bad, the ugly, because the truth be told, none of us are perfect.
Right.
We're all going through a process of being made who God really wants us to be. But when we learn to embrace our strengths and our weaknesses, that is the moment when we really understand who we really are.
Right.
And we accept who God has made us to be. Because like I said the other day on social media, for you to try to be like somebody else, compare yourself constantly to other folks, it's kind of like an insult or a slap in God's face concerning the purpose for which He created you for. We were all created with something unique to accomplish, some special gifts, some special abilities. We were not all created the same. I may look at you and see some similarities. You may look at me and see some similarities in personality, or even maybe in some of the things that you like. I may find some similarity in some of the things that you like, and vice versa. But we're not alike.
Right.
We're not alike, and I think that for women, we need to make peace with that, and understand and respect our differences, and know that it's okay.
Right.
It's okay, because God created you for something specific. So for you to try to act like somebody else, that's you forfeiting what God made you for. Come on now. And we don't want to. I don't want to live my life
in somebody else's shadow.
Yeah, in somebody else's shadow, and I don't want to miss what God created me to do. I want all that God created me to do. Right. So I think that once we come in to the knowledge of who we are, and we begin to celebrate ourselves, then we are able to celebrate somebody else. Isn't that good?
That's good. And I also believe that your children, they can see if you're struggling with identity. They can pinpoint those things in you.
Yeah.
So I really believe that you should be transparent with them, because life is hard. You go through your struggles, you go through your ups and downs and so forth, but you still want them to see some level of confidence in you. That way they know what they're supposed to do. They don't fall victim to, you know, all the insecurities and stuff, you know, whether it's some, you know, their friend, their girlfriend, their peers, their somebody they see on TV, and don't constantly compare themselves thinking that is the perfect way to be, or that's the perfect way to look. And no, it's just wrong. Like, you know, so I think that we need to keep that in mind too.
You have to understand that what's perfect for somebody else may not be perfect for you.
Right.
You know, there's certain things that you like
that you don't.
That I don't like. And there's certain things that I like that you don't like.
Right.
You know, and we don't criticize each other and put each other down, and you know, then I tell her not to wear that blue wig, then I tell her not to wear that green wig. I like the green wig. Hello. You know, so and it's okay that we learn to respect each other's differences. That's what makes the world so colorful, and that's what makes the world what it is. Our differences, you know. So I think that is one of the first things that we need to. Well, more than one of the first things, you know, knowing your identity helps you to celebrate yourself, and then in you celebrating you knowing who you are, you don't have a problem celebrating somebody else. So I think that's one of the things, one of the principles that help develop healthy relationship amongst women. It eliminates the competition undercurrent type of behavior. Number two, respecting each other's differences. You know, those are some of the things that has helped our relationship to grow. I mean, we've been in a relationship for years. Forever, and we've had fights and our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, because we respect each other, because we love each other, because the relationship is worth fighting for, exactly, true covenant. We're going to talk about that later in the season, because God knows, we were talking about loyalty. Covenant is based on loyalty.
Absolutely. That's
you know, if there's no loyalty there, you know, there's really no true relationship, you know, so definitely. So these are some of the things that help to develop healthy relationship with women. And you have to, you know, like we spoke about Gabrielle Union again, you know, you have to be real with yourself first and recognize that, you know what, I don't really have these qualities. Right. You know, I'm the hater. I am a hater. You know, I'm the one who throws shade. I'm the one who is insecure when that confident woman walks in. And listen, deal with it. Yeah. Deal with it and be healed. Deal with it once and for all, and be free. Be free. It's bondage. It's bondage. It's bondage. It has you all wrapped up, all tangled up, not enjoying life, in depression, and all sorts of feelings, just because you're not willing to be real and to confront the situation that you are dealing with, you know, that's making you toxic towards the people that God really surrounds you with to help you to grow. To help you to grow. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's about growing. It's about us helping each other to grow. Go ahead. I
just wanted to piggyback on something that you said earlier in regards to you know, us being different. You know, I remember like many years ago when you had the beauty shop that somebody, you know, people was like always attracted to me, and I was just very nasty about it because I just didn't like it. You know, and they would ask me questions, well, when do you do this, and how do you do this, and how do you do that? And at first I was like really nasty. Then later on, it's like I was trying to duplicate myself in a sense, and you was like, everybody's not going to be like you. You said that to me many times. Like, everybody's not going to be like you. And you need to be okay with that and respect that. Respect that they're going to be different. And I think that I've learned that over the years, that just because somebody asks me, well, where do you get this, and how do you do this, and how do you do that, doesn't mean that they want to be a replica of me. It just means they want to know how to do it, in a sense, or maybe they admire me, but it's honest. Like, I don't need to go there in my mind and think, oh, you know, I need to make this person like me, because it's only one me.
And then be upset about it. Be upset about it. She used to get upset about you know, if they ask her something and then she goes out of the way to make it happen for them and they don't maintain it, oh my goodness, she would
take it very personal.
She would take it very personal.
Yeah.
And I would say to her, well, okay, well, they're not you. Like, maybe they just wanted to try it for a moment and they got over that and they're moving on and they're finding their own self, and that's okay. There's nothing to get upset about. But yes, you have grown in that area. I think I'm developing a serious burden for our young girls. I don't know. This topic of conversation really stirred something in me, because I want our girls to know that you're born with a purpose, but you don't really recognize that purpose immediately. You know, like it takes process. And I want our girls to understand that in the process, during the process, there are things that you're going to feel that you're not going to understand. You're going to have times of insecurity. Right. You're going to have times when you don't feel beautiful. You're going to have times when, because of how we are made up as women, you're going to be depressed. You know, you go through those times of the months, you know, where your hormones go through all kinds of stuff. And you know, one minute you feel happy and one minute you feel sad. And I want to talk to that young woman that's out there that may be considering hurting herself, cutting herself, taking her life, you know, just shying away because you don't know who you are as yet, and you're feeling the pressure of feeling inferior to other people or to other young women who you may deem more beautiful than you, you know. And let me tell you, sometimes that outward beauty is just really, it's just a camouflage of what's really going on inside. So don't ever make judgment or make a decision based on what you see from a person from the outward, on a person from the outward, because you never know the struggle that they're going. I always thought that Giselle was very beautiful. Like, I would look at her and I would admire her, not jealous her. I would always celebrate her, always speak of her beauty and tell her, you know, that people are attracted to you. You know, you got to make peace with that because you're beautiful. The glory of God is on you, you know. But she was having her own internal issues as well as I was. And people didn't know. So people look at you sometimes and they want what you have, or they want what they see, and they have no idea of what's going on the inside. And that's a major issue amongst women. You know? You know, the Bible talks about covetousness, where people covet what they see, but you don't really know what's going on the inside. So I want to talk to my young girls out there and let you guys know that, listen, you're beautiful exactly where you are. You are beautiful, and you're going to land safely. You're going to land in a place of confidence. Your life is in, oh my God, I'm feeling this so strong. Your life is in the hands of the Lord, and you don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to control it. You don't have to shorten it. You don't have to take your life. You don't have to try to be nothing that you are not. You just continue to go through the process. Tap into God. Build a relationship with God. Learn, develop hearing from God, and you are going to land safely. We're here to tell you, 49 years old, 50 years old. I'm the eldest, yes. I'm the big sister.
She always has to say that.
All right, let's just make it very clear. You know, and we are here to tell you that you are going to land safely. You are going to make it. You're going to make it. So don't try to do stuff that, you know, out of the frustration. You know, it's natural. It's natural. The process that you're going through, it is natural. And you're going to come to a place where you're going to feel secure in yourself. Oh my God, and you're going to enjoy life to the fullest, until it overflows. My desire for our young girl is that they get there before we got it, because it took us a while to get it. And the truth be told, we didn't really have
those real role models around us that we can look up to and be like, wow, and be mesmerized about the things that they're doing, the positive things they're doing, their lifestyle.
Mentors that were honest.
True, because a lot of them put up this facade of perfection.
Right.
Nobody's perfect.
Right.
So that was just like, you know, a lot of women that came before us, a lot of them did not let you know their dirt. They didn't want you to know that they was even going through dirt, because that was, they just wanted to put up this thing like, you know, everything is perfect, everything is all good, and
especially if you were in God.
Yeah,
if they were in God.
It's just crazy, because it would have helped us. It would have helped us not to make certain decisions. It would have helped us not to go through certain things that we went through. And we would have had more time to, you know, really know ourselves.
Further.
Exactly.
We would have been further.
Exactly. So I think that we need to be that for the generation that's coming up, because we don't want them to go through half of the stuff that we went through, because the truth be told, some of them are not going to make it.
Right.
Are not going to make it, because they're just built different than than we were.
Right.
And that we are.
Right.
But they can get through.
You mean like when they come, there's certain things that certain experiences, you mean, that they will not come through like we did.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Yes. And you're right. You're right.
So you want to save them from that. You want to, you want to kind of like shelter them, and you want to, break their falls and stuff like that. So if anybody that's listening to us, this is for you. If you don't have someone to speak to, you don't have, maybe a mom, you don't have, female role models that you can look up to and speak to, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to us, and we'll be here to talk to you and help you through and counsel you through and pray you through whatever it is that you're going through, because we understand that not everybody has someone, so just know that we are here, to counsel, to help in any way that we could.
That's right. That's very good. That's very good. One of the things that I said in the beginning of the season, of this third season, is that I was going to talk about some of my experiences, even as a pastor, and I must admit that a lot, and maybe it's just because of the circle that I'm in, but a lot of my negative experience with women has been in the church. It has been in the church, and I think it's a disservice for women of God, to not embrace their womanhood and their security in God, because I think that once you understand, or you come into an environment where you are being taught the Word of God, you develop a certain level of knowledge, understanding, so that you can execute what you're being taught.
Right.
And the Bible is clear on teaching us our identity. But just like in the beginning, when the enemy deceived Eve in her not realizing her identity as God, had outlined it to them. I mean, God said to them, God said to God the Son and God the Holy Spirit, let us make man in our image and in our likeness.
Right.
And when God created man and woman, he told them what their identity was, but they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it. They didn't receive it. So therefore, they fell into the deception of the enemy. And as it was in the beginning, I find that in the church of the living God amongst women. My experiences with women, it's almost like they're bewitched. Like, they believe what the enemy says about them, as opposed to what God says, what God has said about them, which casts a shadow on their identity, and it provokes them to behave or to misrepresent the God that they profess to serve.
Right.
So with that said, one of the things that I've experienced, one of the negative things that I've experienced amongst women in the church, and I'm saying it because hopefully somebody out there, some woman of God, some child of God, will hear what we're saying tonight and make changes. Because, diverting a little bit, a couple of Sundays ago, I taught on the Shabbat praise. And one of the scriptures that we read in the book of Psalms, it said that one generation was Shabbat to another generation concerning the goodness of the Lord. And I was thinking about that today, and that word Shabbat means to proclaim.
Right.
It also means to proclaim. It means a loud, sustained noise, but it also means to proclaim. In other words, to say something. And we, in this generation, we need to begin to proclaim to our young women who they are in God. Right. We need to begin to proclaim the goodness of the Lord concerning who God has made them. Right. So as women in the church, we need to not allow the enemy to deceive us anymore. And we need to begin to understand, who God says that we are, if not for ourselves only, for the next generation that's coming up, for our daughters, for our sisters, those that are going to take the baton and run after us. If not for anything else, we need to do it for them. And one of the things that I noticed amongst women in the church, and maybe women in the world too, but again, I'm talking about my experience as a pastor, is that a lot of, you know what? The truth be told, not only women, but a lot of people want from other people, or a lot of people want what they're not willing to give.
Oh, that's rampant.
A lot of people want, a lot of women want to be affirmed, but they're not willing to affirm other women. A lot of women want loyalty, friendship, but they're not willing to be loyal. They're not willing to extend that friendship. They're not willing. A lot of women want forgiveness and understanding and all these wonderful things. But they're not willing to give it to another woman. And the Bible says, whatsoever thing a man sows, that shall he also reap. And a lot of times we look at that scripture negatively, but it's applicable for positive principles too. If you want loyalty, then try to be loyal. Try to be loyal. What do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think that we need to keep in mind, just think about how would you like to be treated. And based off of how you would like to be treated, that's how you need to treat others.
Exactly.
I mean, it's that simple. You want respect, you want loyalty, you want to be honored. That's what you need to give to the next sister.
Right.
Just because you might think that she's not up to par in whatever, way, shape, or form, doesn't mean she doesn't deserve respect and to be honored and to be loved and to be complimented.
That's right.
Because as I stated on last week, it takes nothing from you to compliment another woman.
That's right.
It really doesn't.
Right.
You see it, you can acknowledge it in her, and you never know, that could be the best thing that she's heard all day. Maybe she needed to hear that.
That's right.
So it takes nothing from you.
It takes nothing. It takes nothing. I think one of the things that as women we need to understand clearly, that God made us with the ability to influence. Yes. Therefore, we are agents of change. We are agents of change. We can create change. Just because you walk into an environment and somebody is negative towards you, it does not mean that you have to respond in the same way. Your behavior, your attitude, woman of God, we're women of God. First. We're women filled with the Spirit of God, and we have the ability to help people to change. Yes, we don't have to come down. We don't have to ill-treat. We don't have to hate. We don't have to display these type of behaviors because it is being done to us. Right? Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap. I remember working at Access I'm sorry, maybe I shouldn't have said the name of the company, but I remember working at this particular company, and when I first started working there, and people found out, people found out that I was from New York, just their knowledge of me being from New York, they automatically put up this defensive mechanism because they have these preconceived ideas about New Yorkers. But can I tell you, by the time I left that company, I was loved. Yeah. Because I didn't adjust to people's perception. I didn't adjust to people's perception. I just continued being who God had called me to be.
And I think that you did that deliberately. Oh, yes. Because you was trying to represent who you declare Christ is. Right. Because it's so easy. It's so much easier to walk into a place and you see the nose flared up and the attitudes and stuff, and you just be like, whatever, and your attitude, your stinkiness come out, and it's so easy to do that, but you have to think about it. Yeah. You have to deliberately just check that real quick and be like, something? I need to display the love of God in this moment, whether you crack a smile or whether, you just have a pleasant look, a pleasant, look on your face so that people will be comfortable,
change.
right? To create change and that you can be approachable.
That's
You'll be approachable because you want that. You don't want them to think that you come in the room and you just want to, take over. Like, no.
Yeah.
So it's something that you have to deliberately do, and you did it because I remember. I remember coming to your job, and I was just like,
and just feeling
whoa,
stuff in the atmosphere.
Whoa, and her attitude was just totally the opposite. And as she said, when she left, they loved her. They didn't want her to leave.
Yeah.
And they couldn't stand her when she first came.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we've been able to have this conversation. It's a start to making changes.
Yes.
You can have very healthy, productive, successful relationships with women.
Yes, you can.
You just maybe you are the one that God will use to initiate the relationship and provoke changes. I know people could not understand this relationship right here, really, right. How like,
night and day.
But
she was night and I was day.
Okay. Whatever. But
truth be told, she was day and I was night.
We were both light. We were both light. Maybe a gray light and a.
Yeah, okay. Shades of
but
gray.
God allowed us to be agents of change to each other. And that came through again, accepting, respecting each other's differences, loving each other, fighting for the relationship, being loyal to one another. There's nobody that can ever convince me that Giselle will ever be disloyal towards me.
It would never happen.
It's not going to happen.
It would never
It would never happen. And on my part, it's the same thing. It would never. Our husbands don't even understand
our
relationship, and they're okay. They're like, you know what? We're not getting it. Yeah,
anyway,
they're different. They're wired a bit different. But listen, we just want to encourage you, encourage women of God above all.
Yes.
Please understand the responsibility that you have for the next generation of women.
Yes.
Let's come into alignment with the Word of God and who He says that we are, so that our daughters could be stronger, so that they could be better, so that they could see healthy relationships, that they can know that they can have a sisterhood and just grow together,
right.
a pure one, a sincere one. And let's stop hating on each other. Let's develop, let's trust, let's celebrate. Let's just be who God has called us to be, so that this world can be a better place, not only for us, but also for our daughters, and consequently for our sons too, because some of our sons are going to marry some of these girls.
Yes.
Hello. So thank you, Mrs. McCray, once again, for showing up tonight. This is good. I think this is gonna heal some stuff.
Hopefully help
Listen,
someone.
you know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping that through these conversations that relationships will be healed amongst women. It takes a lot of women to go back and clean up your mess. There's nothing wrong with you humbling yourself, because the Bible tells us that it is in our humility that God exalts us. If you see something good in a woman, or even relationships with women, trust me, humility plays a large part in that relationship. So, just allow God to be God through you. Allow God to use you as an agent of change. Thank you for tuning in tonight again. We love you. See you next week. Bye. Same time, same place. I adore you.